Hello! I am Mac, at least for a day, and everything's going to be okay. Well, we just got a huge announcement from Sean Murray about the future of No Man's Sky, and it actually was perfect timing because I was going to be doing a speculation video about when the next update is going to be, and we pretty much got confirmation of that. And I also said at the end of the last video that I was going to be giving my potentially controversial opinion about when the next update is coming out and why it's coming out then. And something that Sean Murray tweeted pretty much all but confirmed that. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and read Sean Murray's tweets. There's actually 4 tweets that he ended up making. Last night we got kind of a teaser where Sean Murray tweeted a retweet of his next announcement from last year, and then he tweeted a clock emoji that said 1 o'clock, which ended up meaning 1 p.m. in the UK, which is when he made this announcement this morning, which is morning for us in America. And so then, this morning, he tweeted, No Man's Sky Beyond, a major free chapter coming summer 2019, with 3 updates in one. No Man's Sky Online, it said number 1, No Man's Sky Online, 2, ? 3, ? We're working our butts off on something special, more info soon, heart emoji. And that tweet came with a teaser trailer, which I will talk about the contents of that trailer in a little while. Next, he tweeted, Each chapter for No Man's Sky has been more successful than the last. Thanks to our community, next was especially so. It brought enjoyment to millions of new players and helped change the legacy of this game we care so much about. And then another heart emoji. Then a little while later he tweeted, After next, No Man's Sky Abyss brought underwater gameplay and No Man's Sky Visions greatly increased diversity in the game. We really enjoyed delivering lots of updates quickly to the community. And that had like a couple screenshots from the Abyss and Visions updates. Next, his 4th tweet is what confirmed the kind of theory that I've had about what Hello Games has been thinking about updates to No Man's Sky. So this is what I believe based on things that happened last year. Last year we got the No Man's Sky Next update. Well, let me go to the very beginning. My concept that I want to explain is the idea of the No Man's Sky hype cycle. Because I believe that No Man's Sky was born of and continues to depend on this concept of a hype cycle. So, of course, when No Man's Sky was first announced at E3 in 2013, people started to get really hyped. The very first trailer that they showed got people really excited about this game. It was something new. It had visuals unlike any other space game that anyone's ever seen, so people started to get really, really hyped. And as time went on and we got more, and well, I wasn't really aware of No Man's Sky at the time, but as people got more trailers from Hello Games, the hype just continued to grow and got to an insanely high level by the time the game finally came out in 2016. And it was because of that somewhere around 500,000 people bought the game, about 250,000 on Steam and probably around the same amount on PS4. So nearly 500,000 people played the game at launch, and it was because of that we got the unfortunate negative backlash against No Man's Sky, because so many people were so hyped about it and so many people got it, and it wasn't what they expected. It wasn't good enough for a lot of people at launch, and so we had this huge negative backlash, some of the worst backlash of any game in recent history. That, Hello Games got death threats, Hello Games has had to hide from the world, But despite that, they continued to work on updates. And then Foundation update came out near the end of 2016, and that started to improve their reputation that had been horribly destroyed by the launch of the game. And so that improved their reputation a bit. And then we got the Pathfinder update at the beginning of 2017, and that also improved their reputation a bit. But those updates, though they were good, that they improved the reputation for Hello Games, they weren't like super popular because there was still so much negativity against No Man's Sky that only the die-hard fans that had refused to hate on No Man's Sky really enjoyed those updates. Then we had a really long period of silence from Hello Games after the Pathfinder update. And that began what I'm calling a new hype cycle. So, and we also got Waking Titan, which kind of helped build that hype. But because Hello Games was silent for so long, hype built up, and hype was also built up by Waking Titan. And then No Man's Sky Atlas Rises update was really successful. That was their first really successful update. Foundation and Pathfinder were fairly successful, mainly because it showed that Hello Games were not going to give up on the game, and so it got some people back. But then when hype built up and they had the really successful Atlas Rises update, that's when things really started to turn around for No Man's Sky. That's when their reputation began to improve. They introduced the Orb multiplayer, which was just kind of a basic, not real multiplayer, but it was sort of a multiplayer, and that's when a lot of video game news reporters like The Know and stuff like that started to do somewhat positive videos and articles about No Man's Sky, although The Know still was very much making fun of and criticizing Hello Games. But some people on there were like, well, at least they're trying to add multiplayer and stuff like that. So Atlas Rises was the first time that a hype cycle had improved the reputation for No Man's Sky. And then right after Atlas Rises, well, we got a few bug updates after Atlas Rises, of course. But at the end of 2017, Hello Games definitely went silent again, and we began what I'm calling another hype cycle. So for an entire year almost, we waited after Atlas Rises for another update. And we got another Waking Titan ARG, which helped to build the hype. And then the most successful update to date for No Man's Sky, the No Man's Sky Next update, came out in summer of 2018. And that one introduced real multiplayer, and it launched the game on Xbox, and it was extremely successful. Some people have said that estimates put the profit that Hello Games made on that release on Xbox somewhere around 60 million pounds, which is insanely high amount of money. Now, I don't know if that's true or if that's just speculation, but they almost definitely made quite a bit of money off of the game when they did that update, No Man's Sky Next. So that was another time that Hello Games was rewarded for allowing a very long hype cycle to grow, and a big release of an update was very successful. Then we got the No Man's Sky Abyss and Visions update. And the thing about those two updates is they were, although, you know, the fans liked getting more updates, they had a very lukewarm reception. There was not a lot of excitement about those two updates. And I think it's mainly because they dropped with almost no hype being built. No one knew that we were going to get more named major updates. We had been getting almost weekly updates, bug fixes, and occasional tweaks to the game, which added more features. We got some small updates that gave us different body types for our character models, and we got the motorcycle exocraft. That was just a regular little update. It wasn't part of a named update. So Hello Games were giving us small, tiny updates with new features, and that is something that people had asked for a long time. They said, hey, give us weekly updates, give us little things every now and then, and people seemed to think that that was the best way for Hello Games to go, was to just have regular updates instead of waiting a really long time and going silent to having a big update. And I think Hello Games discovered that that was not a good idea, because there really wasn't much excitement or much of a resurgence of like Steam player numbers for the Abyss and the Visions update. People considered those very small updates, even though they were named. Some people even said they shouldn't even have made these named updates. They were so tiny, especially the Visions update. People were like, they added almost nothing. This should not have been a named update. I wasn't one of those complainers, but I myself was a bit underwhelmed by the size of the Visions update, and the Abyss was a bit disappointing because it was supposed to have storyline, but it wasn't really a storyline. It was just lore line. I was thankful that we got more named updates, but I and a lot of other people just weren't very impressed with those updates, and they didn't make a big resurgence of people playing it. And so I believe that Hello Games realized this, that they have relied and they need to continue relying on a hype cycle where they go quiet, they work really hard to make a really big update after a long period of time, and because everybody gets really hyped up, that update will be really successful. Lots of people will come back to the game and play it. Maybe more people will buy the game because there's all of this rumors and excitement about the next update that is coming, and then it makes it a really successful update. And what confirms that is the fourth tweet. I'm sorry I've taken so long to read it, but this is the fourth tweet that Sean Murray just made. He says, early this year, we were working on 3 future updates, but we wanted to interweave their features to create something much more impactful. Beyond will contain those 3 major updates rolled into one larger free release. And then he did a muscle flexing emoji. So that confirmed what I had been suspecting. I've been planning to do this video for a long time, called No Man's Sky and the Hype Cycle, but now, before I got a chance to make it, Sean Murray pretty much confirmed that. He says here that they were working on 3 major updates, and they could have released them all separately. Like, we could have gotten an update like in February or March, and then another one in like May, and then the third one in the summer, like July. But that would have been pretty much the same as the Abyss and Visions update. There wouldn't have been a lot of hype built up for them, and they would have seemed like smaller updates because they just like added one big feature. Like Abyss pretty much just added improvements to the ocean. It also added a submarine and a little bit of lore, but it seemed like a really small update. Visions seemed really small because all it did was add a few new assets to planets and a few new exotic planets. So it seemed like almost nothing. So I think it would have been the same with these 3 updates, and Hello Games realized that. They realized that it wasn't working out well to have smaller named updates spread out. So instead of having these 3 updates throughout the year, they've decided to interweave them into a single update that we aren't getting until this summer. So that has confirmed that for me, the theory that I've been thinking of. And I was even thinking that back when the Abyss and Visions updates came out. I thought, oh man, this probably isn't a good idea. No, Hello Games shouldn't be giving us these smaller updates because they aren't going to be very successful. They need to wait and go silent and do like they have before. Now, I'm not saying they have to be silent, but that's what they've done in the past, and that's what has worked for them, is being quiet and allowing our imaginations to build up the hype for an update and to make it be more successful because everybody's really hyped up and excited about it. The hype that caused the disaster of the No Man's Sky launch is also the hype that has made their updates successful since then. So I think Hello Games are going to continue to do this. They're going to continue to wait long periods of time, be mostly quiet, and just give us small bit of information like Sean Murray did this morning, and build up to a really big update, because that has been more successful for Hello Games than giving us weekly updates or monthly named updates, because it just wasn't well received by the community. We didn't get excited enough for it to be impactful. So I'll stop rambling about my theory there, and people are welcome to comment and disagree with me if you don't, or just tell me you don't like my theory, that's fine. But let's go ahead and re-examine some more about what Sean Murray announced. I've taken up enough time with my ideas. It's time to look at... stupid predators, go away. It's time to look at what Sean Murray said. So, the update is called Beyond, and the one new feature that he's announced so far is something called No Man's Sky Online. Now, that implies that it will be an improvement to multiplayer. We did a topic in this speculation theory series about multiplayer, and it looks like they are going to be doing something more with multiplayer. I don't know what he means by No Man's Sky Online. No Man's Sky is already somewhat connected online. We've always had the ability to share our discoveries online since the game launched, and then they've added the comm stations and base sharing, and then they added the orb multiplayer, which was kind of a meta sharing, very basic multiplayer, and then next gave us the 4-person multiplayer. No Man's Sky Online, I think, implies more of a more massive and more well-connected multiplayer. I don't know how well that's going to work or how they're going to do that. It could just be a name for increasing the lobby size to 16. We've often thought that that's what they were going to do, because right now you can only have 4 people with character models together, but Orb multiplayer had up to 16 players, so we've always thought that they might increase that number to 16 character models altogether. Now, why they would call it No Man's Sky Online, I don't know. So tell me in the comments what you think. What does No Man's Sky Online mean? Does it mean we're just going to get 16 players together? And let me show you an example of why we think that. If you go to Network and Voice, there's... There used to be 16 slots for people on Network and Voice. But it looks like that's changed. Now it just has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no. So is it only possible to have 8 people on your voice? Huh, that's strange. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to just increase it to 8 instead of 4 and not all the way to 16. But yeah, tell me what you think No Man's Sky Online is supposed to mean, and we will talk about that. The other thing is the trailer, the teaser trailer that Sean Murray put in that tweet. Now, what basically, to me, the trailer opening looks like the inside of some new structure that I think has the same architecture as an Atlas station. I could be wrong, but it looks very much like the architecture inside of Atlas stations. Atlas stations have like these kind of angled, well, just watch the trailer yourself and you'll see what I mean. It looks like the inside of an Atlas station, and it's got a character, a player model standing there with their spaceship. And I definitely think that it's in space because you never land your ship inside of a big building on a planet. It's always when it's a space station or an Atlas station or the space anomaly out in space that you land your ship inside that structure. So the player model is standing there with its ship, so they must have flown in and landed their ship inside of the structure. And you've got these kind of lights and kind of ancient monolith kind of structures in the room. And like I said, the architecture is very similar to an Atlas station. But instead of having an Atlas orb or anything like that, it has what appears to be a round portal thing. Much like the portals we have at the monolithic portals that we use to travel to other planets. And it also is similar to this portal. It's a round shape with a glowing kind of portal thing. It's a lot bigger. It looks bigger than this portal, or even bigger than the monolithic portals. So I don't know if it's a portal that we can fly our ship through, or it's just a big portal that we can walk through to go someplace. I'm very curious to find out where the portal leads to. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and say that I think it is the portal to the world of glass. I wish it was. We talked about the world of glass in the last topic, or a couple topics ago, about storyline. That would be really cool. And the fact that Sean Murray is calling this a chapter, I think the chapters he's referring to have been the really big updates to No Man's Sky. Atlas Rises, No Man's Sky Next, and now No Man's Sky Beyond. Those are going to be the three biggest major updates. Foundation, Pathfinder, Abyss, and Visions are all smaller named updates and are not referred to as chapters. But I think Sean is now referring to the really big updates as chapters. So Beyond is the third chapter. And from that trailer, I'm hopeful that they're going to finally be adding more storyline. Because why else would they add a new like Atlas station structure in space if it wasn't to add new storyline? The Atlas stations are involved in one of the main storylines, the Atlas Path. The space anomaly is the second main storyline that we have. And then we've got Atlas Rises, which is the third storyline, which is not really involved with a giant object in space, although you do go to Atlas stations. But I definitely think if they're going to be adding a new mysterious Atlas-related structure in space, that it's going to be a new storyline. And that gets me really excited, because that's what I really wanted and was hoping they would add with Next, but they did not add any storyline. I think it's finally time that they're going to add a new story. So I think the storyline is going to be one of the remaining two features that he hasn't announced. He announced number 1, No Man's Sky Online, but he did not announce what the second and third updates are. I think one of them is a major storyline that we're going to get with the structure in the trailer. And then No Man's Sky Online is some kind of improvement to multiplayer. And then we've got a third thing, we don't know what it is. I'm betting a lot of people are going to be hopeful that it is either space-related improvements or VR. And looking at the comments on Sean's tweet, those were two main things that people were saying. They were saying, please let it be VR, or please let it be a space update. And of course other people were saying variation. And I think we'll definitely get variation with this update. All major updates to No Man's Sky have added variation. Atlas Rises reset the universe and added variation. And of course, No Man's Sky Next added, well, it reset the universe. It didn't add a whole lot of variation, but then in the Visions and Abyss updates, we got more variation. But yeah, so we don't know what the two remaining major features of this update are, but I'm thinking it's going to be storyline, and then we'll just have to wait and see. So I want you to comment and tell me what you think is going to be included in this update. We know it's going to be in the summer. He said summer 2019. So probably, I'm guessing July or August. That's usually when the major updates have been. It would probably be wishful thinking for it to be June. So probably July or August we will get the update, and we'll find out probably soon. Sean Murray promised that soon there would be more info, so we'll hopefully find out what the other two major features of this update are going to be. But please comment what you think is going to be in this update, and I will do another comments video for this speculation topic. So I have been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day. And remember, everything is going to be okay.